Hello again, dear dreamer, and welcome back to the Sleepy Scientist. Wherever you are, tucked beneath a soft blanket or gently swaying in a chair, tonight we're about to take a quiet little journey, not out into the stars, but inward into your own sleeping mind. Because even when you're resting, your brain is still thinking, not in words, not in worries, but in something quieter, stranger, more beautiful. It cleans itself, repairs itself, talks to itself, and sometimes it even writes poetry using only memories and light. Your brain never really sleeps. Tonight we'll explore how that's possible and why your most relaxed hours might be your most active ones. You might drift off as we speak. That's perfectly fine, because your brain will keep listening. It always does. So take a deep breath now, gently exhale. Let your body rest, let your thoughts slow, and let us begin. Sleep isn't an off switch. When we imagine going to sleep, we often think of shutting down, like turning off a light or flipping a switch. But your brain isn't a machine, it's more like a lighthouse. And when you fall asleep, it doesn't go dark. It simply changes how it shines. Inside your skull, billions of neurons keep firing, not randomly, but in slow, dreamy waves. There's no sharp logic, no urgent alarms, just the soft rise and fall of quiet activity, like waves brushing a moonlit shore. If you could hear it, it would sound like music slowed down to a hum. Some parts of your brain rest while others light up. The area that controls movement, for example, goes silent. But the memory centers, the emotion hubs, they become more active than when you're awake. Isn't that odd? That the brain turns inward the moment you turn off the lights. Even as your body lies motionless, your mind might be stitching together memories from yesterday, or quietly rehearsing things you haven't done yet. It's strange but true. You can sleep through your own rehearsal, and when you wake up, something will feel easier. So no, sleep is not a shutdown, it's a shift, a rearrangement, and sometimes a reunion with the parts of yourself you're too busy to hear when you're awake. The night shift begins. Just minutes after you fall asleep, something beautiful happens. Your brain's rhythms begin to slow, like an orchestra settling into its softest movement. It's here that the night shift begins, and the real work quietly unfolds. Brainwaves change. Alpha gives way to theta, and then to delta, the deepest, slowest rhythm. Each wave takes its time, like breath in a still room. These waves move across your brain in gentle pulses, like ripples through water, syncing up cells in far corners of your mind. During this time, memories get moved around like books being reshelved. Emotions are softened, filed, or faded. Bits of yesterday are either erased or quietly added to the story of who you are. It all happens in silence, while you drift deeper beneath the surface of awareness. Strangely, while most of your brain slows down, a few regions spark to life. The thalamus, the relay center, starts filtering out distractions. The amygdala, the emotion seat, stays alert in case danger visits your dreams. It's a kind of low-lit watchtower, quietly scanning the night. This is the part of sleep you rarely remember. It's not flashy, no wild dreams, just deep restoration, like a room being cleaned while you nap on the couch inside it. Delta waves, the deepest calm. Delta waves are the slowest brain waves, but also the most powerful. They arrive like the hush after a snowfall, gentle, unhurried. They ripple across your brain only a few times per second, yet their effects can last a lifetime. These waves signal that you've entered the deepest part of non-REM sleep. Here, your muscles fully relax. Your heart beats slowly. Your body releases healing hormones. But most mysteriously, your sense of self fades. You are still you, but quieter, lighter, almost transparent. Delta sleep is when the brain restores itself physically. It clears waste, heals small damage, and prepares for another day. And yet it doesn't feel like anything to you. You're not dreaming, you're not thinking, you're just gone, and yet fully present. Scientists believe these waves help form long-term memory. They stabilize new skills. They strengthen your immune system. You don't have to do anything. Just lie there, breathe, and trust that your brain knows what to do in this stillness. If deep sleep had a color, it would be midnight blue, cool, silent, infinite. And somewhere in that blue space, your brain is humming, not loudly, not urgently, just patiently, steadily, keeping the lights on in the background of your night. Dreams of cleaning crews. Here's something most people don't know. When you sleep, your brain actually cleans itself, like a tiny city sending out invisible cleaning crews after midnight. It's called the glymphatic system, and it only turns on when you're asleep. Imagine your brain's highways flooded with fluid, cerebrospinal fluid to be precise. It washes through your brain's tissue like spring rain. It flushes out waste products that build up during the day, including beta amyloid, a protein linked to memory loss if left unchecked. This system doesn't work well when you're awake. It needs the brain to shrink slightly during sleep. Yes, shrink. Just enough to let the fluid flow freely between the cells, like a quiet river through a canyon. It's invisible, it's silent, but it might be the most important nightly task you never notice. If this process didn't happen, your brain would be flooded with toxins. Thoughts would slow, memory would blur. Over time, diseases could form, but when you sleep well, your brain gets the chance to shine up every corner, gently, lovingly, night after night. You don't need to understand all the science, just know that while you rest, your brain is sending out a crew of janitors with tiny invisible mops, sweeping the corners of your consciousness. The glymphatic system. This tongue-twisting term, glymphatic, combines glial, the brain's support cells, and lymphatic, the body's drainage system. It's a discovery so recent, scientists are still figuring out its full beauty. But what they do know is this: it works best when you're fast asleep. The glymphatic system uses a network of tunnels around blood vessels to carry waste out of your brain. It's powered by gentle pulsations, the heartbeat, breathing, even your sleep position. Yes, your sleeping position can affect how well your brain is cleaned. Some studies suggest sleeping on your side, like curled in a fetal pose, helps this system work most efficiently. It opens up pathways, reduces resistance, encourages flow. Isn't that curious? That your favorite bedtime curl might be nature's best detox trick. This isn't just theory. In experiments with mice, fluid flowed up to 60% more efficiently during sleep. In humans, it's linked to memory, cognition, even preventing neurodegenerative disease. Your brain isn't just sleeping, it's scrubbing, gently, lovingly, and without you lifting a finger. So when you wake up feeling clear-headed, don't just thank your mattress or your coffee, thank your glymphatic system, the night janitor you never see, who works only when you surrender to rest. Why sleep feels like time travel. Have you ever closed your eyes and then opened them what felt like a second later, only to realize 8 hours had passed? That soft confusion, that blink across hours, that's one of sleep's most beautiful illusions. When you fall asleep, especially into deeper stages, your brain disconnects from the usual clocks. The parts that track time, your prefrontal cortex and circadian regulators, go dim. The minutes don't tick anymore. They melt, stretch, fade into waves and pulses instead. Dreams might feel like they last forever, or they might be over in a blink. You could live a whole adventure, climb a mountain, fall in love, remember a song in just a few seconds of brain activity. But it feels like hours. It's not that time stops, it's that your brain no longer counts it. What's strange is how precisely this time distortion is crafted. Your brain chooses when to let you feel time and when to hide it from you. It can stitch memories together like film reels, skipping the boring parts. It edits your experience with the grace of a director in a dream studio. So sleep doesn't just restore you, it offers you a gift we rarely get when awake, the feeling that time is soft, stretchable, and sometimes even optional. Neural echoes, replay in the dark. Long after you've shut your eyes, your brain begins to whisper, not in language, not in noise, but in replay. Quiet loops of experience ripple through your neurons, as if your day wants one last encore before it's filed away forever. Researchers have seen this with astonishing clarity. In lab experiments, they've watched brain cells in sleeping rats fire in the exact same patterns as when those rats were exploring a maze earlier that day. It's like a memory echo, repeating in the quiet. In humans, this same replay likely helps transfer memories from short-term storage, like your hippocampus, into deeper long-term systems. While you rest, your brain quietly decides what to keep, what to erase, and what to blend with older stories. Sometimes these echoes show up in dreams. A face you saw once on a bus, a sound from the grocery store, a fragment of a thought. They come back, not quite the same, but stitched into new scenes. Your brain isn't copying, it's sculpting. Think of it like this. Your day leaves footprints in the snow, and at night your brain retraces them, deciding which to preserve and which to let melt. The hippocampus goes to work. Tucked deep inside your brain is a little seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus, the keeper of memories. And when you sleep, this quiet librarian starts sorting through the chaos of your day. It decides what gets remembered and what quietly fades away. Not everything is saved. In fact, most things are let go, intentionally. Sleep is where your brain practices letting go of what doesn't serve your story anymore. But the hippocampus doesn't work alone. It sends memory signals to the cortex, the outer layers of your brain, to begin long-term storage. Think of it as moving fragile data from a USB stick into a massive filing cabinet. Interestingly, emotional memories seem to get special treatment. If something felt intense, joyful, frightening, or meaningful, your hippocampus gives it extra attention. That's why you can't remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday, but you can still feel something someone once said to you years ago. All of this happens without you doing a thing. While you snore softly or shift under your blanket, your brain is in its quiet archive, whispering to itself about who you are and who you're becoming. Why you wake up with solutions. Ever gone to bed with a tangled thought and woken up feeling clearer? As if the answer was gently handed to you while you weren't looking? That's not a coincidence. That's your brain doing its quiet nighttime magic. When you sleep, especially during REM, the rules of logic relax. Connections that wouldn't make sense during the day suddenly become possible. Ideas that were stuck in straight lines can now drift, curve, or loop into solutions. This flexibility allows your brain to test patterns, solve puzzles, and reorganize knowledge creatively. It's like a soft rehearsal space. No pressure, no fear of failure. Just neurons playing quietly in a sandbox of memory. Many artists, scientists, and thinkers have reported waking with breakthroughs. Einstein, Dali, even Thomas Edison used naps as thinking tools. And today, sleep researchers confirm the brain really does solve problems while you sleep, especially the ones you stop trying to solve. So when you go to sleep tonight, it might be worth holding a question softly in your mind, not with urgency, just curiosity. You may find the answer waiting for you, tucked into the folds of morning. Rest isn't the same as stillness. From the outside, sleep looks like stillness. Your body doesn't move much, your eyes are closed, your breath slows, but inside there's movement, gentle, rhythmic, purposeful. Rest, it turns out, is full of motion. Your brain isn't sleeping the way a machine powers off, it's sleeping the way a garden rests, full of invisible growth. Cells are rebuilding, thoughts are wandering, emotions are settling into their places like dust floating down in quiet sunlight. This idea that rest is not stillness is one of sleep's softest truths. It means healing doesn't require noise. Repair doesn't need effort. Sometimes the most important changes happen when you're doing absolutely nothing. Even dreams, strange as they are, play a role. They carry your unspoken emotions into light. They let your subconscious speak in metaphors. They remind your waking self that life isn't just reason, it's rhythm. So don't worry if you've had a slow day, or if your body feels heavy. If you are resting, you are rebuilding, and that is enough. What is a dream, really? A dream isn't just a movie. It's not quite a memory either. It's something more elusive, like fog that lifts when you try to grab it. A dream is a soft performance your brain puts on for itself, using pieces of your day, your past, your fears, and your hope. Dreams are born mostly in REM sleep, when your brain is almost as active as when you're awake, but without the rules. In this quiet theatre, there's no editor, no audience, no judgment. Scenes shift suddenly, time jumps, faces morph, and yet somehow it still feels real. Scientists call dreams a form of offline consciousness. Your brain is conscious, just not here. It wanders into symbolic spaces. Emotions wear costumes. Stories take shortcuts. And your identity, yourself, becomes flexible like a shadow stretching under moonlight. Dreams might be a way for your brain to simulate problems, or process complex emotions, or simply stir its own creativity. Maybe they're rehearsals for possible futures, or gentle replays of things you didn't get to fully feel during the day. Whatever their purpose, dreams remind us that your brain, even in rest, is still curious, still imagining, still reaching for meaning in its own quiet language of light and memory. REM sleep, your brain's matinee. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and during this vivid sleep stage, your eyes do something strange. They flicker rapidly beneath your lids, as if watching something invisible. It's one of the only signs that deep down your mind is wide awake. REM sleep usually begins 90 minutes after you fall asleep. It repeats in cycles, each one getting longer as the night goes on. By early morning, you might be dreaming for 30 to 45 minutes at a time, long enough to live a whole dream world and forget it seconds after waking. During REM, your body becomes paralyzed. It's a safety feature, so you don't act out your dreams. Your brainstem shuts off voluntary movement, but your mind, it's free. It paints scenes, tests fears, plays with possibilities. It's like a playhouse with no stagehands, no rules, and no curtain calls. Strangely, REM brain activity mirrors wakefulness. But there's one difference. The logical areas go dim, while the emotional centers burn bright. This makes REM the perfect storm for imagination, and sometimes chaos. That's why dreams feel true, even when they make no sense. It's your brain's matinee performance, a private one, no ticket needed, just sleep, and an open mind. Lucid dreaming, half awake, half asleep. Now and then, something unusual happens. You realize, mid-dream, that you're dreaming. You don't wake up, you just know. And in that delicate moment, you step into lucid dreaming, a state between control and surrender. Lucid dreaming is rare for most people, but not impossible. Some train themselves to enter it, others slip into it naturally. The experience is surreal. You might fly, talk to loved ones, change the scene, all while knowing it's not real and still feeling everything deeply. Your brain in a lucid dream shows a fascinating blend of activity. The logic centers, usually dormant during REM, light up. That's why awareness returns. But emotional and visual regions stay active too, preserving the dream's vividness. You're awake, inside sleep. Some people use lucid dreaming to explore fears safely. Others use it for joy, for healing, for creative discovery. Writers, musicians, inventors, many have found ideas floating inside lucid dreams, waiting to be remembered by morning. But it's not about control. The deepest lucid dreams are still soft, still mysterious. You're not the architect, just a conscious guest in your mind's cathedral of light and memory. Why dreams feel so real? You've woken up before with a racing heart, or tears on your cheek, or laughter, without remembering why. That's the strange power of dreams. They don't just show you things, they make you feel them, as if they were real. This illusion is no accident. When you dream, your brain activates the visual cortex, the part that processes what you see when awake. But this time, there's no input from your eyes. The images come from inside. The light is imagined, and yet it looks just like the real thing. But it doesn't stop at vision. Your emotional circuits, especially the amygdala, go into high gear. That's why dreams often feel dramatic, surreal, or oddly intense. Your brain reacts to imagined danger with the same urgency as waking threats. And because your logical filters are quieted, you rarely question what you see. A friend with 3 heads? Perfectly acceptable. Flying through your childhood bedroom? Feels normal. It's not confusion, it's immersion. Dreams don't ask you to understand. They ask you to feel. So even if the story is strange, even if you forget it by breakfast, your brain still holds on to the emotional weight of it. The feelings are real, even when the story was only light. Familiar faces in strange places. Have you ever dreamed of someone you haven't seen in years? A childhood friend, a stranger from a store, someone whose name you forgot, but whose face comes back like a whisper. Your brain keeps an astonishing library of faces, and during dreams, it flips through them like photos, borrowing features to fill out the cast of your inner movie. That teacher from 6th grade might become the voice of your anxiety. That barista you saw once may appear as a hero in a dream scene. The places in dreams often blend too. A hallway from your old school might lead into your grandmother's living room, which opens into a beach you've never visited. It makes no architectural sense. But dreams aren't bound by blueprints. They're stitched from fragments of memory and emotion. Scientists believe this patchwork is the brain's way of testing emotional responses. It recreates old characters in new scenarios to see how you feel. It's rehearsal, disguised as randomness. Therapy, disguised as storytelling. So when you wake from a strange dream with a familiar face, don't be surprised. Your brain is simply inviting someone from the past to help you walk through the present. Nightmares as messengers. Nobody likes having a nightmare. They jolt us, leave our hearts racing, and sometimes linger like fog even after waking. But what if nightmares aren't just random frights? What if they're messages in disguise, gentle alarms from the subconscious? Nightmares often visit when we're under stress, emotionally overwhelmed, or facing something unresolved. The brain doesn't invent fear for fun, it conjures it to process. It takes what's hiding and brings it up to the stage, not to punish you, but to help you see what you've been carrying. Scientists have found that people who experience trauma often dream of the event in shifting ways, and as the healing progresses, the dream changes too. What begins as a terrifying replay sometimes softens over time into something symbolic, even empowering. Nightmares can also help rehearse survival, like a training ground for your instincts. It may not be pleasant, but evolution has shaped the brain to learn through simulation, even through fear, especially through fear. So if you've had a nightmare recently, don't be too quick to push it away. It might not be an enemy. It might be a quiet part of you saying, I need you to feel this, just once, so I can let it go. Can you dream without knowing it? You may think you only dream once or twice a night, but your brain tells a different story. Research shows that most people dream multiple times, sometimes up to 5 or 6 times in a single night. So where do those dreams go? And why don't we remember them? The truth is, you probably do dream far more often than you realize, but the brain's memory gate doesn't always keep the doors open. Especially in the transition between REM sleep and wakefulness, dream memories can vanish in seconds. Not because they weren't vivid, but because your brain lets them dissolve before they settle. Some dreams are so fleeting, they don't even make it to your conscious mind. These are called microdreams, flashes of imagery, emotion, or sound that flicker through the brain, especially during light sleep or as you're drifting off. You may not see them, but your mind feels them, like wind brushing against curtains. Even when you don't remember a dream, your body might. That tightness in your chest, a strange mood when you wake, a decision that feels strangely guided. It could be the quiet echo of something dreamed and forgotten. So yes, you can dream without knowing. Your brain still tells stories in the dark. They just don't always wait for you at the door in the morning. Dreams versus memory. One of the oddest things about dreaming is how familiar it can feel, even when none of it ever happened. You might visit a house you've never seen, speak a language you don't know, or meet a version of someone who never existed. Yet somehow it all feels true. That's because dreams borrow the wiring of memory. They use your memory system, the same parts of the brain that recall real events, to craft imagined ones. The hippocampus, the cortex, the amygdala, they all light up while you dream, just as they do when you remember. But here's the twist. Dreams don't file themselves away like memories. They rarely stick. Unless something emotional anchors them, most dreams vanish within moments of waking. It's not amnesia, it's design. Dreams are rehearsal, not record. Temporary scripts scribbled in light. However, what dreams can do is blend with memory. Ever told a story thinking it happened, only to realize later it was a dream? That's dream memory fusion, a gentle blur between what was lived and what was imagined. It's a reminder that memory isn't a filing cabinet. It's more like a canvas, always being painted over. And sometimes the brush belongs to your dreams, symbols, patterns, and puzzles. Some dreams are obvious. Your teeth fall out, you're late for school, you're flying. Others are strange beyond words. A blue goat speaks in Morse code. A hallway has no end. You become a puddle and float away. What do these mean? Dreams speak in symbolic language. They rarely say things outright. Instead, they hint, they echo, they suggest. A locked door might represent uncertainty. A flood could echo overwhelmed feelings. These symbols aren't universal. They're yours. Born from your life, your emotions, your experiences. Your brain uses metaphors at night the way it uses logic in the day. It doesn't always want to solve a problem. Sometimes it wants to feel its shape, like running your hands over a puzzle before knowing where the pieces go. This is why dream journals can be powerful. Not because dreams predict the future, but because they reflect the present in disguise. By writing them down, we begin to notice recurring patterns, colours, emotions, characters. We slowly start understanding the private language of our own subconscious. And sometimes, a single dream image lingers, not because it made sense, but because it made something move in you. That's the dream doing its quiet work, speaking in ways words never could. Your mind as a movie director. Inside your sleeping brain, there's a quiet artist at work, not just a recorder, but a director, a composer, a designer of scenes. It takes emotions, ideas, and sensory scraps and arranges them like a film, complete with lighting, pacing, and transitions. Think about your dreams, how they cut from one place to another, how they blur time, jump scenes, fade characters. This isn't randomness, it's editing. Your brain splices together feelings and memories like a documentary that's been touched with poetry. Sometimes the color of the dream shifts. Sometimes it's in black and white. Sometimes everything feels slow motion. Other times it's frantic. Your brain makes these choices, not consciously but intuitively, like an artist choosing brushstrokes without thinking too hard. Even background noise is curated. The wind you heard at night might become a dream ocean. A passing car becomes a spaceship hum. Your brain takes what's real and reimagines it with perfect creative liberty. So next time you wake from a strange dream, remember, you were in a story, directed by you, or at least by the deeper parts of you, the ones that never learned language, but always knew how to feel. The brain's night shift crew. When you drift into sleep, it might seem like everything shuts down, but your brain actually ramps up a whole different kind of work. It's like a hidden team of workers punches in the moment you fade out. Some sweep, some file, others rebuild. One of the most mysterious systems working at night is the glymphatic system, a kind of cleansing network that removes waste from your brain. During the day, your neurons build up metabolic byproducts, little leftovers from thinking, solving, feeling. At night, cerebrospinal fluid flows through the brain's tissues, flushing these out like a gentle river. It's a bit like a dishwasher cycle for your consciousness. While you're off dreaming of strange cities or old friends, your mind is literally being rinsed clean, preparing you to wake up mentally fresh. Studies show that this clearing process is most active during deep sleep, and when it's disrupted, say by stress, alcohol, or insomnia, the brain's long-term health can suffer. Some researchers even link impaired glymphatic flow to memory loss and neurodegenerative diseases. So if you ever wondered why a good night's sleep feels so refreshing, it's because your brain didn't just rest, it restored. It worked quietly in the shadows to clean house. Emotional first aid happens in dreams. It's not just the body and brain that recover at night, your emotions do too. If you've ever gone to bed feeling overwhelmed, only to wake up with a little more clarity, you've felt the quiet therapy of dreaming. REM sleep, especially, plays a unique role here. During this stage, the brain reactivates emotional memories, but in a safe, altered context. It's like your mind is gently rehearsing or replaying feelings, but without the original sting. Imagine you had a painful argument during the day. At night, your brain might revisit it, not as it happened, but symbolically. Maybe through a different character, maybe in a surreal setting. The details blur, but the emotion stays, and slowly gets processed. That's the magic. REM sleep gives you distance without erasure. It helps the heart breathe again. Scientists have found that people deprived of REM sleep often feel more emotionally raw, reactive, and easily triggered. It's like your dreams hold a soft cloth, dabbing gently at your psychic bruises, saying, It's okay. I've got you tonight. Nighttime and memory making. If the day is for collecting experiences, the night is for deciding what to keep. During sleep, especially in deep stages, your brain sifts through all you saw, heard, and felt, like a librarian choosing what belongs in the archive. Short-term memories, stored in the hippocampus, get reviewed. Some are tossed, like that random email you opened. Others are moved into long-term storage, where they can form lasting impressions, skills, and understandings. This process isn't passive, it's highly selective. The brain doesn't just copy and paste, it prioritizes. Emotional moments are often favored. That's why we remember the embarrassing stumble in front of someone more than the 10 normal steps that followed. Interestingly, sleep right after learning enhances this effect. That's why naps are powerful for students, or why musicians often improve the next morning after practicing at night. So when people say, sleep on it, they're not just being poetic, they're echoing a biological truth. The mind writes its deepest notes after the lights go out. Stress, sleep, and the brain's balancing act. Sleep is deeply connected to how your body handles stress. When you're overwhelmed or anxious, it's tempting to stay up late, overthinking, scrolling, pacing. But, ironically, it's sleep that holds the antidote. And without it, the stress only multiplies. During healthy sleep, cortisol, your stress hormone, naturally drops. The parasympathetic nervous system activates, calming your heart rate and muscles. But more than that, your brain's prefrontal cortex, the part that regulates emotions, gets a tune-up. Sleep is like recalibrating your inner compass. It helps you return to center. But chronic stress can interrupt this cycle. It makes it harder to fall asleep, which leads to more stress the next day. A spiral forms, yet even a single night of good rest can begin to break that pattern. One peaceful night doesn't solve everything, but it gives your nervous system a foothold, a quiet place to start again. Your brain knows how to heal. It just needs the lights off and the world quiet enough to do its work. When the brain dreams for the body, have you ever twitched while dreaming, felt like you were falling, or jerked awake just as something dramatic happened in a dream? That's your brain doing something strange, blending thought with physical reflexes. While most of your body is paralyzed during REM sleep, a natural safety mechanism so you don't act out your dreams, there are still exceptions. Tiny muscle pulses, eye movements, and sometimes full-body jolts still happen. But beyond these reflexes, scientists have discovered something fascinating. The brain uses dreaming not only to process feelings and memories, but to simulate actions. Athletes who visualize routines in dreams can sometimes improve in real life. Musicians can practice through dream rehearsals. Dancers, speakers, even chess players. Your brain doesn't always need your limbs to train. It can build neural pathways through imagined repetition. And the richer the dream, the stronger the imprint. It's a quiet reminder that your body listens, even when still. That deep within the night, your mind may be silently rehearsing a better version of you, waiting to emerge by morning. Do animals dream like us? You've probably seen a dog twitching in its sleep, paws fluttering, nose sniffing, maybe a soft woof, as if chasing something invisible, or a cat's whiskers twitching, eyes darting under closed lids. Are they dreaming? Science leans toward a soft yes. Many mammals, and even birds, experience REM sleep, the same stage where humans dream. Their brains light up in ways that mirror human dreaming, and their movements suggest replaying events, feelings, or instincts. A lab rat running a maze while awake might rerun it in its sleep, mentally rehearsing, adjusting. Some birds seem to dream in song, replaying melodies they're learning like a quiet nighttime practice. The question becomes, what is a dream really? Is it a memory stitched with emotion, a training ground, a symbolic language, or something more ancient, a shared inheritance passed down through the nervous system? And if animals dream, do they also wake changed like we do, more ready, more clear? It's a humbling thought that across forests, oceans, and homes, dreamers rise and fall with the moon. Why REM sleep is so strange. REM sleep, rapid eye movement, is the most surreal part of the night. Your brain becomes more active than when awake, but your body is frozen. Eyes flick back and forth under your lids, and dreams flood in vivid emotional bursts. It's a bizarre state, as if the mind enters a theatre with no script, no rules, no gravity. Logic dissolves. Faces change. Places blend. You fly, fall, fight, forgive, all without real consequences. Yet the emotions feel real. Scientists are still unsure why REM dreams are so chaotic. Some believe it's random memory filing. Others say it's symbolic storytelling, your brain trying to decode deeper truths through metaphor. But what's clear is this: REM sleep helps you regulate mood, creativity, and problem solving. It can inspire new ideas, unlock emotional clarity, and even spark intuition. That's why dreams, however strange, often leave you with lingering feelings or sudden insights the next morning, like, I just know what to do now. REM is the wild painter in your mental gallery, colouring outside the lines to show you what your waking eyes can't yet see. The brain's nighttime symphony of chemicals. At night, your brain becomes a quiet laboratory, releasing a timed cocktail of chemicals that shape your journey into sleep, through dreams, and back again. It begins with melatonin, the gentle whisperer. As darkness falls, this hormone signals your body to prepare for rest, lowering your temperature, slowing your pulse, quieting your senses. Then come the deeper players. GABA helps shut down unnecessary brain chatter. Adenosine builds up during the day, increasing sleep pressure, and during REM, a complex dance of acetylcholine and serotonin modulates your dreams and emotions. It's a symphony without a conductor, all timed by your circadian rhythm, your internal clock, tuned by light and habit. What's beautiful is that this happens without your conscious control. Even if your day was chaotic, even if your thoughts won't slow down, your brain still tries to help you, to return to rhythm, to bring balance. And when it works well, it's like being carried by a current you didn't know you were floating in. Sleepwalking, when the brain forgets to pause. There's a strange condition where the brain goes partly to sleep, but the body does not. That's sleepwalking, or somnambulism, and it sits at the edge of mystery. People have walked, eaten, even driven while asleep. They may look alert, but aren't fully conscious. It usually happens during deep non-REM sleep, when the brain's motor systems activate, while awareness remains offline. Why does this happen? Genetics play a role. So does stress, sleep deprivation, and sometimes childhood development. It's more common in kids, often fading with age. But here's what's hauntingly beautiful. Most sleepwalkers have no memory of the event. Their brains protect them from the awkwardness or fear, as if saying, you weren't meant to carry that moment. Sleepwalking reminds us that sleep isn't just on or off. It's layered, unpredictable, and in some cases makes us move when we don't even mean to, like the brain itself is dreaming, not just the mind. When dreams speak in symbols, have you ever had a dream that made no sense, but still left you thinking about it for days? Maybe you were lost in a house you've never seen, or searching for something you couldn't name, or talking to someone who's been gone for years. Dreams often use symbols, images that don't directly reflect reality, but carry deeper meaning. Psychologists like Carl Jung believed these were messages from the subconscious, not to be taken literally, but felt. The house might be your inner self, the ocean, your emotions, the stranger, a forgotten memory resurfacing. And sometimes these symbols aren't universal, they're personal. Only your heart knows what that door meant. Only your past knows why that song played. The brain doesn't just store experiences, it reinterprets them, weaves them into metaphors, blends them into stories that may only make sense at 3 a.m., yet still change how you feel at 9 a.m. In that way, dreaming is like poetry. It doesn't explain, it reveals. The hypnic jerk, why you sometimes twitch before sleep. You're lying in bed, drifting off, and suddenly your leg kicks or your whole body jolts. You weren't falling, but it felt like you were, and now you're wide awake again. That's a hypnic jerk, a harmless muscle twitch that happens during the transition into sleep. Scientists still don't fully understand it, but here's one theory. As your body relaxes, your brain might misinterpret the stillness as falling or losing control. In response, it sends a quick burst of muscle activity, like a reflex to protect you from falling off a tree branch, a leftover instinct from our evolutionary past. Others think it's just a harmless signal misfire, your brain switching off one system before another's fully done. But what's interesting is how common it is. Nearly everyone experiences it, and often it comes with a flash of imagery, like tripping, missing a step, or slipping. Almost like the brain's way of double-checking. Are we safe? Are we ready to fully let go? That jolt, however brief, reminds us that even sleep has a doorway, and the mind doesn't always walk through quietly. Hypnagogia, the dreamlike state before sleep. Just before sleep truly takes hold, there's a strange floating place called hypnagogia. In this twilight state, thoughts blur, images flash, and sounds appear from nowhere. You might hear your name, see colours, or have sudden vivid ideas. It's dreamlike, but you're still slightly aware. This state fascinated artists, inventors, and scientists. Thomas Edison used to nap while holding metal balls in his hands, so when he slipped into hypnagogia, the balls would drop, wake him up, and he could record the bizarre ideas that floated through. During hypnagogia, the brain's sensory filters loosen, logic relaxes. The subconscious steps forward and begins whispering. It's why some of your strangest, most creative thoughts happen just before sleep. A forgotten memory, a new solution, or an image you've never seen before. Hypnagogia is a hidden treasure chest, a place where waking and dreaming shake hands for a brief moment, and in that overlap, the boundaries between reality and imagination dissolve. Sleep paralysis, awake but unable to move. Now here's something that sounds like a ghost story, but it's very real. Sleep paralysis. It happens when your brain wakes up, but your body doesn't. You're aware. You can see the room, but you can't move, can't speak, and sometimes you feel a heavy presence nearby. Across cultures, people have described it with haunting images, shadowy figures, pressure on the chest, strange voices. It can feel terrifying, but here's the science. During REM sleep, your body is paralyzed to prevent you from acting out your dreams. Sleep paralysis occurs when this paralysis lingers a few seconds into wakefulness. It's harmless, though deeply uncomfortable. Usually it passes quickly. Stress, irregular sleep, or fatigue can trigger it. But what's fascinating is how universal it is. People across time and geography have reported nearly identical sensations. It makes you wonder, is the brain just confused? Or is it opening a doorway it doesn't usually open? Either way, Sleep paralysis is a strange reminder that consciousness isn't a switch. It's a dimmer, sliding, overlapping, revealing strange gaps. Lucid dreaming. When you realize you're dreaming, have you ever become aware inside a dream? Maybe you looked around and thought, this isn't real, I'm dreaming. And suddenly you had control. You could fly, or talk to someone who's gone, or ask your mind questions and hear it answer back. That's lucid dreaming, when the dreamer knows they're dreaming. And for some, it's not just awareness, it's agency. You can shape the dream, bend its rules, explore. Lucid dreaming happens during REM sleep, and while rare for most people, it can be trained through intention setting, reality checks, or waking back to sleep briefly before re-entering. Some people use lucid dreams for creativity. Others use them to confront fears, like speaking to a past version of themselves or changing the ending of a recurring nightmare. But even without full control, the awareness alone can be profound. It shows us that even in our most unconscious states, the mind can awaken and steer the story. Lucid dreaming is a glimpse into the untapped power of human awareness, the hidden author behind the pages we don't know we're writing. Why some dreams feel more real than real life? You wake up, heart pounding. Maybe you were running, or crying, or in love. And for a moment, you forget who you are. You're still in it, the emotions, the place, the story. Some dreams feel more vivid than reality, the colours sharper, the emotions deeper, the meaning stronger. Why? One reason is emotion. Dreams tied to strong feelings often etch themselves deeper into memory. Another is the lack of external noise. No phones, no distractions, no filters, just you and your subconscious. During REM, your brain's logic centers quiet down, while your emotional centers light up. That's why dreams feel intense, even when they're strange. Your brain treats them as real. And here's a twist. Sometimes you remember dream details with more clarity than real memories, like walking down a street you've never seen, but somehow knew. It blurs the boundary between fiction and memory, and it makes you wonder, what's more real, the world you walk through with your feet, or the one you walk through with your soul? Prophetic dreams. Can we glimpse the future in our sleep? You dream something, and days later it happens. Maybe it's small, a phrase, a scene, a person you haven't seen in years. Or maybe it's bigger, a warning, a choice, a chance to act. These are what people call prophetic dreams, visions that seem to predict real events before they happen. Science doesn't have a clear explanation. Skeptics say it's coincidence or retroactive memory, our brains stitching meaning after the fact. But others believe something deeper is at work. Carl Jung wrote of the collective unconscious, a shared well of symbols and intuition. Perhaps dreams can tap into patterns we're not conscious of, or maybe it's simply our subconscious solving problems faster than we can, connecting dots we missed while awake. Whatever the case, millions have experienced it. Soldiers, mothers, children, strangers who wake up and just know something is coming. So maybe, in the stillness of sleep, a quiet part of us leans forward in time and listens, dreams that heal old wounds. Not all healing happens with medicine. Some of it happens quietly, in dreams. Have you ever had a dream that helped you let go? Maybe you saw someone you lost, or spoke words you never got to say, or faced something that once scared you and felt peace. Dreams can be emotional surgeons, finding the wounds we hide during the day and gently opening them at night. In REM sleep, the brain processes emotions in a unique way. It replays painful events, but without the full rush of stress hormones, like re-watching a scene without the overwhelm. This helps you reflect, grieve, make sense of things. Some people have had life-changing dreams. One conversation in a dream that shifted years of pain. Others simply find themselves waking up with a little less weight in the chest. We often think healing means doing, but sometimes healing means allowing the dream to speak without interrupting and letting your own mind tuck you back into wholeness. Reoccurring dreams. What are they trying to tell you? The same dream, again and again. Maybe you're back in school, missing an exam, or trapped in a loop, or searching for something but never finding it. These recurring dreams are not random, they're messages. Our minds repeat what hasn't been understood, like knocking on a door we keep ignoring. Sometimes it's emotional, fear, guilt, or unprocessed change. Other times, it's symbolic, like being chased equals avoiding something, flying equals wanting freedom, falling, feeling out of control, but it's not just the content, it's the feeling. What do you feel in that dream? Powerless? Curious? Relieved? That's often the real key. The dream may stop once its message lands, like a teacher that retires once the lesson is learned. So if a dream visits often, don't run from it. Sit with it. Ask what it needs to show you. It might just be a part of yourself, waiting to be heard. When dreams borrow your real memories, sometimes you wake up and wonder, was that a memory or a dream? Dreams often borrow pieces of our past, blending faces, places, and moments into new, strange combinations. But here's the twist. While awake, our memories are fragile. They shift. They rewrite themselves. During sleep, the brain moves short-term memory into long-term storage, but it doesn't do it perfectly. This is called memory consolidation, and it's why your dreams might take a childhood room and fill it with yesterday's thoughts, or why your brain replays that one awkward moment over and over, but changes a few things each time. Sometimes this helps you heal a memory. Other times it confuses you. Was that kiss real? Did that conversation happen? Is that face from a movie or my childhood? The lines blur, but maybe that's not a flaw. Maybe the brain is trying to tell you, your story isn't set in stone, it's still being written, even while you sleep. The morning after, how sleep rewrites who you are. We think of dreams as fleeting, but what if they're more than that? What if every night your mind is quietly reshaping who you are? While you sleep, the brain isn't just resting, it's editing, replaying the day, discarding what doesn't matter, reinforcing what does. It strengthens certain connections, weakens others, sorts your emotions, lays down new rules. It's as if sleep is the editor behind the scenes, whispering, let's make this part of the story stronger. Ever noticed how sometimes you wake up with a fresh perspective? A problem feels smaller, a decision feels clear. That's sleep, not as escape, but as transformation. Your brain is constantly becoming, not only while awake, but especially in sleep. And when you wake up, you're not the same person who lay down the night before. You're subtly rewoven in ways your conscious mind might never fully notice. The dream that isn't yours. Can we inherit dreams? Have you ever dreamed something that didn't feel like yours? A place you've never been, a war you never fought, a sorrow that doesn't belong to this life. It's strange but not uncommon. Many people have experienced dreams that feel ancestral, as if some memory passed down through blood, through story, through something deeper than DNA. This is called genetic memory by some, and others call it spiritual inheritance. Science hasn't proven it, but epigenetics suggests trauma can pass down through generations. So maybe, in sleep, the veil between timelines thins, and something from your grandmother's fear or your great-grandfather's longing finds a quiet place in your mind. You wake up weeping, not sure why, or in awe, or remembering a home that never existed in this life. Could dreams be vessels, carrying stories we were meant to complete? Could we be the final chapter of a memory that started long before we were born? Shared dreaming. How do two people dream the same thing? It sounds impossible, yet people have whispered it for centuries. Two people dreaming the same dream. Twins across continents, partners sleeping side by side, even strangers who meet and find they both dreamt of the same forest, the same room, the same phrase. How? Science doesn't have a clear answer, only theories. Maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's mutual experience surfacing in similar images, or maybe consciousness isn't as individual as we think. The ancient world believed dreams were shared spaces, places the soul travelled while the body slept. And maybe, just maybe, two souls found the same river, the same doorway, the same dreamscape. Could we be more connected than we think? And could dreams be the thread that quietly weaves us back together? When you know you're dreaming, you're walking through a dream, and suddenly you realize, this isn't real, I'm dreaming. It's subtle and powerful, that moment of lucidity, when the dreamer becomes aware and can begin to shape what happens next. Some say this is the key to exploring consciousness, the moment where your mind steps outside itself and begins to direct the dream like a painter at an easel. Lucid dreaming isn't common for everyone, but it can be practiced. With dream journals, reality checks, and gentle awareness before sleep, some people use it to fly, others to heal old fears, and some simply to marvel at the strange playground of their mind. But here's the secret. Even a few seconds of lucidity can feel like hours. Time bends in dreams, and so does the sense of self. You're not quite you anymore, and yet somehow more you than ever. 44. False awakenings. The dream that tricks you twice. You open your eyes, you sit up in bed, everything looks normal, until something feels off. You try to move, but your limbs won't respond, or your reflection looks wrong, or the clock keeps changing every time you look. You realize you're still dreaming. This is called a false awakening, a dream of waking up. It can happen in loops, one after another, sometimes 5, 6, even more before the real waking happens. Why does this happen? Some researchers think it's the brain testing consciousness, checking whether it's ready to re-engage the body. Others believe it reflects anxiety, the mind trying to regain control but struggling in layers of thought. It can be eerie, but also oddly beautiful. A reminder that waking and dreaming aren't opposites, they're just different masks worn by the same awareness. And sometimes, waking is just the dream that stuck. Near-death dreams. Where do we go when we almost don't return? Thousands of people have spoken of dreams they had while clinically near death, when the body lay still and the mind drifted into a space beyond time. Some describe tunnels of light, others, loved ones, or gardens, or oceans made of stars. A few return with visions that change their lives, insights, warnings, even memories from a place beyond explanation. Are these just the brain shutting down, or something more? The line between a dream and an NDE, a near-death experience, is often unclear. But the effect is undeniable. People return calmer, softer, with less fear. It's as if they glimpsed something our waking minds aren't built to hold. Maybe dreams are the training grounds for that journey, or maybe they're visits from that world, reminders that even in death, consciousness might find another shape. Wherever we go when we almost don't return, Dreams seem to know the way. Sleepwalking. When the body moves but the mind stays asleep, imagine standing in your kitchen, barefoot, reaching for a spoon, but you're not awake. Sleepwalking is one of the strangest bridges between sleep and waking life. The eyes may be open, the feet may move, but the mind is still submerged beneath the waves of sleep. It happens during the deep non-REM stages, when the body is meant to be most still. And yet something stirs, something slips loose. Children experience it more than adults, and often they never remember it. It's as if the brain left the lights on, but forgot to open the door. Some sleepwalkers cook, some talk, some even drive, but their conscious self, still dreaming, somewhere else. It's a humbling reminder that sleep is not just a switch we turn on and off. It's a vast landscape, and sometimes we wander without knowing why. The brain's night shift, cleaning, repairing, remembering. While you sleep, your brain doesn't take a break. It rolls up its sleeves. Deep within the folds of your sleeping mind, tiny glial cells begin their quiet work, sweeping away toxins, clearing debris, refreshing the neural space. It's a kind of nightly housekeeping, one that's absolutely essential. Without it, mental clarity fades, memories jam, mood shifts creep in. But it's more than cleaning. It's consolidation. The brain gently folds memories into long-term storage, deciding what to keep and what to let go. What's forgotten is just as important as what's remembered. And this selection happens while you're dreaming of oceans, forests, or faces that don't exist. It's beautiful, in a way, to know that while your conscious self sleeps, your deeper self is hard at work, quietly protecting your mind for tomorrow. Dreams that heal. Can the mind mend the heart at night? Have you ever woken from a dream? Lighter? Like something was lifted from your chest, even though nothing changed? Dreams, it seems, don't just entertain, they may help heal. Emotional processing happens during REM sleep. Traumas get softened, fears are rehearsed and released. The amygdala, our emotional alarm system, settles down. Some researchers call it overnight therapy, your brain playing back the hard parts of your day in gentle, distorted forms so you can feel them safely. Others believe dreams help stitch together meaning, like a poet assembling broken pieces into a new kind of story. Maybe that's why heartbreak often hurts most when you can't sleep, and why, after a good night's rest, the world feels manageable again. Maybe. Sleep is the soul's quiet attempt to hold itself together, the twilight between wake and sleep. There's a strange place, a fleeting passage between waking and dreaming, where colours twist, faces shift, and logic evaporates. This is hypnagogia, the half-sleep, half-wake state. It's not a dream, but not quite reality either. You might hear voices, see flashes of light, feel like you're floating, or falling, or melting, and then suddenly, gone. Full sleep takes over, but in that moment, your brain becomes wildly creative, free from narrative, unfiltered by reason. Many artists, musicians, and inventors have dipped into this state for inspiration. Salvador Dali, Thomas Edison. They'd hold objects in their hands while dozing, so when sleep took them, the object would drop and wake them up, capturing the last thread of the idea. Maybe our best ideas don't come from thought, but from the soft fog just before sleep. The sleeping brain in meditation. When wakefulness imitates sleep, meditation and sleep are not the same, but in deep states they begin to resemble each other. Long-time meditators show sleep-like brainwave patterns, theta waves, delta waves, even while fully awake. The mind becomes still, but aware. Quiet, yet conscious. It's as if the meditator learns to enter the dream field without losing the self. Buddhist monks describe it as watching thoughts drift like clouds, no grasping, no pushing, just a gentle resting in being. From a neuroscience view, this is powerful. It shows the brain can repair, cleanse, and even heal itself, not just in sleep, but in waking stillness. So perhaps the line between sleep and waking is not as solid as we think. And maybe the deepest rest is not about shutting down, but about returning to silence with your eyes still open